Okay, it's 4:06 PM and I'm calling this meeting to order.
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs, Member Jackson,
Present.
Chair Frazier.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Comments from guests?
I was a little confused or maybe disappointed that I didn't get any response from anybody regarding the emails that I sent last month. One of the things that, I had shared, I believe, some images regarding the leaves that are still in the cemetery. One of the questions I had asked was, I understand that currently you serve on a board that really doesn't have the power to do much, given the way the city is operating. So at some point, you would become responsible for all of the finances at the cemetery. And so one of my questions was, do you pay attention to some of the expenses at the cemetery? For instance, in November, I don't think anybody was mowing their lawn. Grass stops growing mid-October. By November, the grass isn't growing. So the only thing that would be necessary in the cemetery in November would be leaf cleanup. And Mr. Campbell was paid $5,000 or $5,500 to do that. In December, a check was written to him on the 2nd for $2,500 for leaf cleanup. And on the 4th, another check was written for $5,000 for leaf cleanup. So he was paid almost $12,000 for cleanup, and you can go see. He did the leaves along Napier, but you cross the bridge and they're deep. They're in the road, they're all over the cemetery. So at some point in time, you would have to be making trips to the cemetery to verify that. Now, right now, the city commission approves the expenditures. And I've not inquired of them what they do, but when it comes time at the bi-monthly commission meetings, it's in the agenda and they go down the list and they're free to ask questions. And they say, do you approve of this? And most of the time, everybody says yes. So every commissioner said yes to approving paying Mr. Campbell nearly $12,000 for something he didn't do. To me, that's, and you all know I'm not a resident, but you should be concerned that somebody got paid and didn't do the job. And so should the commission. So there's that aspect of things. I believe I sent pictures to you of the plow service. There's 3 areas in the front section of the cemetery in the office area where the there weren't the orange stakes for the snowplow to follow the edge. He has plowed so far in that he's moved headstones. The grass is all tore up and there's headstones that should be like this and they're all like this. And so I believe Public Works is doing the snowplow. So maybe Public Works, when it's a little warmer, will be able to fix those areas. And it's just a little frustrating for me because we keep dancing around whether the city's actually going to operate the cemetery or not. And in defense of there was Angela Gray, she was here 2 months ago, and you were telling her that there's nobody on the commission that seems to support what you're trying to do. I would agree, but she did attend one of the commission meetings, and nobody's contacted her yet. The mayor said that somebody would, but nobody did. And in fairness to you, I don't think that the commission understands what your role is right now, because some of them were complaining at the last commission meeting, because I attend those too. I come to those twice a month. They were complaining that they never hear from the cemetery board, and they should hear from other committees too, is what they expressed. I do believe that Charmaine does make a report to somebody, but nobody seems to know who's doing what, and so it's just I keep waiting to see what I can do to help, but I don't know if anybody knows or if there ever will be an opportunity. So that's just kind of my 2 cents.
Well, I will say, actually, wasn't ignoring you, just looking through my emails, and I don't have an email from you. So, I don't know if I should apologize or not, but I don't have an email from you. The last email I did get when we were considering, you becoming a part of the board.
I'll double check that I have the right
Okay.
email address.
Okay. And then also too, I was just at, a meeting, this month, the legislative board.
Yeah,
to
I
give
think that's
them
what they
update.
said.
So, yeah, first, but yeah, short, brief, and to the point.
Yeah, I know you're kind of handicapped because what do you report on?
Exactly.
Because the agenda is pretty much the same each month, and you end up saying the same things. And rest assured, I'm not pointing fingers.
Mhm.
I'm trying to just figure it out as much as you. But what I am doing right now, in the short year that I've been involved in the cemetery and the veterans, doing research, starting in a week, I'm going to be going to the Berrien County Records Office out on Empire, and I'm going to go through the death certificates of every veteran that's out on the cross, just to see what more information about their life and so forth I can get. And once that's done, we'll be pretty much done with all the research, and then I'll report back with the list and everything else. But I'm organizing my research because I've got newspaper clippings, and I'll tell you, you want to read something really sad, go back through some of the old newspapers and read how beautiful that cemetery was. And not just here in Benton Harbor, not just in Michigan, but nationally. that cemetery was recognized for its beauty and its layout and everything. It's very complimentary. And I've got more history on all the different veterans memorials. I just learned last night that the bridge, when it was originally built, was only one lane. And in around 1939, they widened it to 2 lanes. So I'm gathering all kinds of history to present to everybody once I'm done with that. So.
Now, I did receive your email, and unfortunately, what could I say to a situation you already knew? When I was on the board under the leadership of Margaret Adams, when anything was paid out, we used to be presented invoices to review, to look over. And then we, make a motion and approve it. However, that all we do is, support sending money back to GC management for the opening and closing of the graves.
Right.
Also, in regards to the city commission, understand you won't hear anything until it gets closer to Memorial Day, Mother's Day, maybe Easter. That's when the cemetery is of importance to anybody outside of us. What's disingenuous about it all is that, again, nobody on the city commission that's in a position to put our name out there to try to have access to any of these funds coming through the city. They don't speak up for us. Okay. So I understand, I read it, and all I could do is just like, what, welcome to our world.
Yeah.
That's all I could say. What could I respond to?
No, I understand. Just
Yeah.
recognize maybe that you received it.
Oh, I
Because
did. But I mean, I was like, okay. But
I know
it
you've-
played out like I knew it would. so.
You've done this for a while.
Yeah, different leaderships and,
Right.
and it's still the same. It's only thing different about this board is that now we're supposed to be in a collaboration with the city manager and his staff to work together to bring the cemetery up to standard. That's the only thing different. But everything else, as far as finances, still the same. So that's why I couldn't respond, because I'd still be typing.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you. I received your pictures and all, and I'm just like her. It's something we heard over and over again. When did you take these pictures?
I've taken some since the end of 2021 and this past 2022.
Okay,
The snowplow was November, December.
okay, this is what I came up with. Change of the guard has changed many times, and this time is in real bad shape. Now, since I've been on the board, it's moving slowly, but it's moving. Again, the city manager, he came in on all this stuff when he first came in, and a lot of people swayed away from it. They didn't want to say nothing about it until Easter, Memorial Day, all this stuff, Labor Day. And that's not when you're supposed to start complaining. You're supposed to jump on it from the beginning. So when you get to that point, there won't be no complaint. But however, some things got done. There's no more dumping out there. I'm thankful for that. The bridge is in bad shape, but city manager working on it. And I believe that sooner or later, more sooner, that he's gonna do something to help that out. That is very dangerous. I've been out there several times. My father there now, it's been a year now that he's been there. So I'm out there pretty much regular now. And my concern was exactly what you're talking about. And I parked and walked and walked. I mean, I know all of it. And it's getting better, but it's slow. But you gotta give it time, And I'm pretty sure that Cross gonna be taken care of. And everything else will be taken care of. A lot of the stones are moved from the weather. I mean, they move, nobody moved them, they moved, the earth that moved that. And that's being put back slowly but surely. And we got a lot work to do. Right now, we don't have a control like they used to have control. Some cemetery board used to operate right through the cemetery board. The city manager, stepped in to help out. Now, if they don't, then there won't be nothing. So until then, we can only do what we can do. And I'm wishing and hoping that the commission see on the other side where we coming from. But we don't have any voice over there. The only voice we have right now is the city manager. And I'm glad that the Madam Chair goes to the legislature and report. I don't know if we can do it, but it's good that she's doing it. She's the head of the board. But I promise you this, something's gonna be done. We're gonna do our best to try to get it moving a little bit faster. That's all I can say to you is just keep doing what you're doing. I appreciate you coming and your comments and everything. I'm gonna try myself. I get a little time on my hand to volunteer to help do some stuff myself. At least I can do that. So by that being said, I don't know what else to say to you, sir.
I would like to add one other thing. I've discovered more history about the ravine or the grotto or lagoon. There's actually 3 different areas that are identified by name, or there used to be. And I've told you before that in years past, the last time that whole area under the bridge was cleaned up was 1974. And it was immaculate. But I have since learned, since I started talking about cleaning up the area around that little girl and the cross down there, that the grounds crews are simply blowing all of the leaves when they do leaves down in there. So that doesn't help with the flow of the creek. It doesn't help with how anything looks. So, if we were gonna do anything down there to try to resurrect it, and I know that seems so far away from us right now, that's the least of the concerns. But if we were ever able to do something out there, we'd have to stop blowing leaves and throwing sticks and branches and whatever else down there. It used to be just one creek. Now that thing is flowing all over the place.
Thank you for your comments. They're definitely duly noted.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
may I address something?
Yes.
I can't have someone sitting here saying that people are getting paid for doing more work
Exactly.
that they're not doing.
Yes.
You shouldn't say that. You really shouldn't say that. It's okay, because before we pay the bills, there's someone that goes out and inspects. Now, he told me about the leaves, and I was out there with Mr. Meeks and Mr. where's the name?
Campbell.
Mr. Campbell.
Yeah.
We were out there together, showed him where leaves were, where his concerns were. Leaves, unfortunately, do not just sit in one place.
Right.
When the wind blows, it blows them around. And he started that day cleaning up the leaves in those spots. what we talked about. Okay? So if some more leaves out, they blown out there. They weren't not there because he did get them up. And they could have blown back out there from when he put them, when he got them.
So
There are a
when,
lot of trees out there.
so if, so let me ask this, so they're actually just blowing them, not collecting them, getting rid of them?
No, he gets them up. Doesn't break them.
So we have a written contract with them?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a copy of that? Okay, any other comments? Written complaints? Approval of meeting minutes, December 13th, 2022.
I make a motion to approve the meeting minutes of December 13th of 2022.
I second it.
Motion by Brown, second by Frazier. Roll call. Member Jackson,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Support.
Chair Frazier.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Approval of meeting minutes, well, January 10th. There was no quorum. Old business, update on cemetery property / ground repairs.
Haven't had any ground repairs in the winter.
So do we have an update on what the schedule is like, being that the weather's getting ready to change?
Hope it's gonna change for the warmer, but I understand it's coming back cold again. But we'll be getting bids out, for grass cutting, but we went through the whole summer on the cemetery and didn't have complaints. So this was the first time. And, we're gonna keep the same, I'm going to propose to keep the same system that we had last year. And we're going to start in April this year, so that we'll be ahead of it when Memorial Day comes in May.
So, update on grounds, upkeep, flowers, etc. Notification to families.
That will be getting out of here next week. Yeah. When I get the notice, when I get it finished, I'm gonna send a copy to you all so you can see what we're proposing, see if you like it. Okay?
Okay.
You remember, we had that pink thing that didn't do it.
Okay.
So we're going to have something that hopefully when we send it out to the people, when the people come in to make their reservations, they'll have that information. They'll be able to say they didn't know what to do.
Okay.
And they have to sign off on it.
Well, even with that being said, I would suggest that we need to have something posted,
Yes,
because as we have stated several times before, it's usually not the ones that are putting things on the resting places that have actually went in to make the,
reservation.
so.
And there will be something on the door as they have now,
Okay.
okay? But it's got to be a little bit more. A little definition to it.
And now we're at 2023 meeting schedule. My suggestion is that we keep month to month until, at least until beginning of June, to see things move, because my fear, if we go every other month, then we'll be back going over the same things again.
Until June, right?
June, yes. Month to June. Any objections?
None for me.
New business, transfer of funds for burials.
So from December 19th through February 10th, the amount needed transferred is $41,760.
You said to February,
December 19th to February 10th.
I make a motion that we transfer the amount of $41,760 from the burial fund back to the general fund for processing for December 19th through February 10th burials.
I second the motion.
Motion by Brown, second by Frazier. Roll call. Member Brown,
Support.
Member Jackson,
Yes.
Chair Frazier.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Comments from the board? Member Jackson, any comment?
Yes, you mentioned, the monthly meetings until June.
Until June, and then we'll readdress it at that point.
Okay, one thing about that is that if we can't get nothing going now until then, I would recommend to keep going monthly because that means we get farther and farther behind until we see something drastically happening directly. And it is quite a long time, every 2 months, you forget about a few things, etc. But hopefully, it wouldn't be a bad idea to do it every 2 weeks. I mean, you have to try to hurry it up, but I don't know how y'all schedules are, but I think it can happen though before June. But it is moving. It is moving. So the manager got a handle on everything right now. I give him the time to put it together. In the meantime, myself, and I wish other board members go out to that cemetery and walk it and look at it. So you can see exactly what's going on. I mean, that's what I do. I have to. That way I have my own proof for what I see and what's being done. Also, speaking of Jack Campbell, he got a lot on his plate. Yeah, I had, I was a little bit kind of worried about it first, but I see what he got. You have to maintain his workers. A lot of them just going here, going there. And I know a lot of people want to get something for nothing. But Jack is doing the best he can. I gotta give him that much, credit. And hopefully, the weather is gonna change back bad in a minute, for a minute. And May is right around the corner. So I'm pretty sure that the graveyard will be ready, for that day, Mother's Day. And from day on, once they get a grip to what's going on and he get his crew a little bit better. But Jack is doing what he can. That's all I got to say.
Closing, I like to say that, just listening to Member Jackson, that I'm gonna prioritize taking a visit out there myself. Because I already know pictures don't do justice to it. And just make it, I mean, it's already personal, but it needs to be a little bit more personal for myself. And I do know, just being an employer myself, that, I don't know what position Mr. Campbell is in as far as employing people, but I know sometimes, well, here in this day and age, people just don't wanna work. I trust me, I know. But just getting to that point, we just gotta do better. We just gotta do better, period. And it should take somebody that's, no offense, but not from this community, basically to show us that. But at the same time, this is our home. We got loved ones out there, and enough is enough. So, in an ending, that's all I have to say, unless city manager has anything to say.
You still have your repair list from last year?
I think I'll give it to you.
Okay, then I'll give you another. You need another? So you see what we're going to be working on. You see the building there, the building when I was in there, one.
Oh, with the leaking walls.
Right.
With the leaking
Leaking
walls.
walls, yes, in the rain. And we've got a cost there of about, we think somewhere between 50 and 75. That was before things started going up, cost of things. So I'm gonna ask the engineers to give me another assessment of the money. That will be in, and we'll have that at the next meeting.
Okay.
And hopefully we can get something done.
Do you know what the plans are as far as, will they be able to work in the office while they're doing that, or? they're gonna have
That's the other
someplace
piece
else?
we gotta work out. Yes, gotta work that out.
Seems like it's almost cost effective to knock it down and start from scratch.
You know, you might be right when we get in there and
Put them in a trailer, and, adjunct to the building, knock it down, keep the little things on the wall, and start from scratch.
I have one more comment, if I may. When this do get back to the board and, that controlling cemetery board, back then, they had hired summer youth to help cut grass, plus they had a ground. That is the goal, to get back to a ground floor again. And that's way, even winter time is still kept up with certain things, degrees and stuff. Now, I remember that. I did it myself one time in the summer program, when I was 14. So I know it can come back. It's just that we just have to work hard at it and make sure we put everything together, and then we would have to hire no contractor to come and cut nothing. It'll be done all the time by his own revenue, his own money that this place can produce. So that is being said, that's something to look forward to. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I call this meeting to end at 4:39 PM. Meeting is adjourned.